The morning sun cast long shadows across the massive shipyards of New Titan. Admiral Sarah Chun stood at the observation deck, watching sparks fly from welding torches as human workers built another warship. The ship was huge, with thick armor and heavy weapons. It would be powerful enough to destroy a planet. Sarah felt uncomfortable as she watched. This was the 15th warship this month, and all of them were going to alien customers. The aliens always said they needed the ships for cleaning operations or pest control. They never explained what kind of pests needed planet-killing weapons to deal with. Sarah had worked for Terran Naval Industries for 20 years. Tang was the best shipbuilding company in the galaxy. Every species wanted human-built ships because they were stronger, faster, and more reliable than anything else. Humans had a special gift for building things that worked perfectly, even in the worst conditions. The company had a simple rule. They would build ships for anyone who could pay. They did not ask questions about what the ships would be used for. They just took the money and built what was ordered. This policy had made Teeny very wealthy and very powerful. But lately, Sarah was starting to worry. The alien orders were getting more and more violent. They wanted bigger guns, thicker armor, and weapons designed to kill large numbers of people quickly. When she asked the aliens what they planned to do with these weapons, they would just smile with their different alien faces and say it was not her concern. Sarah walked through the shipyard, checking on different projects. In Bay 7, workers were putting the finishing touches on a massive ship called the Inevitable Victory. The ship was ordered by the hegemony of superior races, a group of 6 alien species that had joined together. The hegemony always acted like they were better than everyone else, especially humans. The hegemony's representative was a tall blue creature called Ambassador Zektar. He had 4 arms and eyes that changed color when he was angry. Zektar always wore expensive clothes and spoke in a voice that made it sound like he was talking to a stupid child. "Admiral Chun," Zektar said as he approached her. "I trust our flagship is ready for delivery?" Sarah nodded. "The Inevitable Victory will be completed tomorrow. All weapons are tested and ready. The ship can destroy any target you choose." Zektar's eyes turned a satisfied green color. "Excellent. Soon, the galaxy will be clean of inferior species. The superior races will finally take their rightful place as rulers of all worlds." Something cold went through Sarah's stomach. "What do you mean by inferior species?" Zektar looked at her like she had asked a very stupid question. "Surely you understand, Admiral. There are species that deserve to live and grow strong. Then there are pests, creatures that spread like disease across clean worlds. They must be removed so the better beings can use those worlds properly." Sarah kept her face calm, but inside she was starting to panic. "Which species do you consider pests?" "Oh, there are several," Zektar said, waving one of his 4 hands carelessly. "The humans are the worst, of course. They have somehow spread from their dirty home planet to contaminate dozens of worlds. They breed too fast and they make everything chaotic. Soon, we will clean them all out and take their worlds for ourselves." Sarah felt like someone had hit her in the chest. "The humans?" "Yes, terrible creatures. They think they are clever, but they are just animals that learn to use tools. In a few days, our great fleet will begin the cleaning operation. We will start with their home world, Earth, and then move to all their colonies. It will take some time to kill them all, but it must be done." Zektar walked away, humming a tune that sounded like a funeral song. Sarah stood there, frozen. She thought about all the ships I had built for the hegemony over the past 2 years. Destroyers, battleships, carriers, and bombardment vessels. Enough firepower to conquer half the galaxy. And now she knew what they planned to do with all those ships. Sarah ran to her office and pulled up the shipping records on her computer. The numbers made her feel sick. Over 3,000 ships had been delivered to hegemony species in the last 5 years. Each ship was built to human standards, which meant they were much better than anything the aliens could build themselves. She looked at the technical specifications for each ship class. The weapons were designed to break through any known defense. The armor could survive almost any attack. The engines were fast enough to chase down any enemy that tried to run away. Tan had built the perfect Warfleet dot, and that Warfleet was about to be used to wipe out the human race. Sarah picked up her secure phone and called Admiral Marcus Rivera, her old friend from the Colonial Navy. Marcus commanded the Earth Defense Fleet, which was supposed to protect humanity's home world from attacks. "Marcus, we have a problem," Sarah said when he answered. "What kind of problem?" "The kind where every human in the galaxy is about to die. The Gemini just told me they are planning to attack Earth. They have been using our ships to build a war fleet." There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Finally, Marcus spoke. "How many ships are we talking about?" Sarah looked at her computer screen. "Over 3,000. All of them built to our best standards. All of them designed to kill large numbers of people very efficiently. And how many ships do we have to defend Earth?" Sarah checked another file. "The home fleet has about 200 ships. Most of them are patrol boats and old cruisers. Nothing that can fight against modern battleships." Marcus was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "So we are looking at the end of the human race." Sarah stared out her window at the shipyard, where human workers were still building weapons for their own destruction. "It looks that way. Marcus, I am so sorry. If I had known what they were planning—" "It is not your fault, Sarah. You were just doing your job. But we need to start preparing. If the hegemony is coming, we need to be ready." After Sarah hung up the phone, she sat in her office and watched the news feeds from across human space. Happy families on colony worlds had no idea that death was coming for them. Children played in parks while their parents worked and planned for the future. None of them knew that aliens were preparing to kill them all with it, weapons that humans had built with their own hands. The worst part was that the aliens were right about one thing. The human-built ships really were superior to anything else in the galaxy, which meant that humanity was about to be destroyed by their own engineering excellence. Sarah put her head in her hands and tried to think of something, anything that could save her people. But what could 200 old ships do against 3,000 modern warships? Outside her window, the shipyard kept working. The sound of hammers and welding torches continued into the night. Humans kept building ships for aliens who planned to use those ships to commit genocide. And somewhere in space, the hegemony fleet was getting ready to begin the final solution to the human problem. 3 weeks later, the war began. Commander Marcus Rivera stood on the bridge of his battleship, the Indomitable, watching the enemy fleet approach on his main screen. The sight made his stomach feel like ice. Thousands of ships moved through space in perfect formation. Each ship was sleek and deadly, bristling with weapons that could crack a planet in half. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "I count 3,200 alien vessels. They are maintaining attack formation and will reach Earth orbit in 6 hours. Marcus nodded grimly. Around him, his small fleet of 200 ships looked pathetic compared to the approaching enemy. His ships were older, smaller, and outgunned by at least 10 to 1. The math was simple and terrible. "Send a message to all ships," Marcus ordered. "We will make our stand at the asteroid belt. Every minute we delay them is another minute for civilians to evacuate." The first battle happened near Jupiter. Marcus led 50 ships against a scouting force of 300 alien vessels. He expected to be destroyed quickly, but something strange happened instead. The alien ships fought poorly. They had superior weapons and armor, but they used them like amateurs. Marcus watched enemy battleships fire their main guns at empty space. Alien carriers launched fighter craft that immediately got lost and confused. Destroyers rammed into each other while trying to execute simple maneuvers. "Sir," his weapons officer called out, "the enemy flagship is firing at its own escort ships." Marcus stared at his screen in disbelief. A massive alien dreadnought was shooting at the smaller ships around it. The smaller ships were firing back, apparently thinking they were under attack by human forces. "What are they doing?" Marcus muttered despite their confusion. The alien ships still had overwhelming numbers. Marcus lost 12 ships in the battle before he ordered a retreat. But he had destroyed 43 enemy vessels, which should have been impossible given their technological advantage as the human fleet fell back toward Earth. Marcus studied the battle recordings. The alien ships were definitely superior to his own. Their weapons were more powerful, their armor was thicker, and their engines were faster. But the alien crews seemed to have no idea how to use any of these advantages properly. Back on Earth, Admiral Sarah Chun was working frantically in Tay headquarters. She had called in every engineer and designer who had ever worked on alien ship contracts. The meeting room was packed with humans who had spent years building the very ships that were now coming to kill them. "I need to know everything," Sarah said to the assembled group. "Every modification, every special feature, every custom system we installed in alien ships. If we are going to die, I want to know exactly how." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the chief design engineer, stood up. She was a small woman with gray hair, but she had designed more starships than anyone else alive. "Admiral, there is something we need to tell you. Something we have never told our clients." Sarah felt a spark of hope. "What kind of something?" "We never trusted them," Dr. Tanaka said simply. "From the very beginning, we knew that aliens might eventually turn against us. So we took precautions." "What kind of precautions?" Dr. Tanaka smiled for the first time in weeks. "Every ship we ever built for alien clients contains hidden systems. We call them safety protocols, but they are much more than that." She walked to a large computer screen and pulled up technical diagrams. "We install ghost protocols in every ship computer. These are hidden command codes that can override any alien authorization. We also install phantom weapon systems that only activate with human command codes." Sarah stared at the screen. "Are you saying that we can control alien ships?" "Not just control them," Dr. Tanaka said. "We can shut them down completely. We can turn their weapons against each other. We can even take over their ships and fly them ourselves." An engineer named Robert Kim stood up. "We also install Guardian AI systems that pretend to be simple ship management programs. But they are actually sophisticated intelligence-gathering tools. They've been sending us reports on alien military activities for years." Sarah felt her heart start beating faster. "How many ships have these systems?" "All of them," Dr. Tanaka said. "Every single ship we ever built for alien customers. It was company policy from day one." Sarah sat down heavily in a chair. "So the fleet that is attacking us right now is filled with ships that we can control," Dr. Tanaka finished. "The aliens have no idea that they are flying into battle in ships that will obey our commands instead of theirs." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Marcus received an urgent message from Earth. When he read it, his hands started shaking. The message was simple. "Marcus, what if I told you that you know every enemy ship's weakness better than their own crews do?" "Sarah." Marcus immediately called Sarah on the secure communication channel. "Sarah, please tell me you have some kind of miracle." "I have something better than a miracle," Sarah said. "I have 20 years of paranoid engineers who never trusted our alien customers." Sarah explained about the hidden systems. As she talked, Marcus began to understand why the aliens had fought so poorly in the first battle. Their ships were not following their commands properly because the hidden systems were interfering with alien control. But why have the systems not taken over completely? Marcus asked. Because we never activated them, Sarah explained. We were waiting to see if we would ever need them. Well, now we need them. Marcus looked at his tactical display, where thousands of enemy ships were approaching Earth. What do you need me to do? Get close enough to transmit activation codes, Sarah said. Once we turn on the hidden systems, those alien ships will become our ships. Sarah, there are over 3,000 enemy vessels out there. Even if we take control of all of them, how do we prevent the aliens from just building more ships? Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Marcus, where do you think they would go to build more ships? Marcus thought about it. They would go to, oh my. That is right. They would come to us. We are the only ones in the galaxy who can build ships good enough for their standards. If we control the shipyards, we control their ability to make war. Marcus looked at his small fleet, and then at the massive alien armada approaching Earth. For the first time in weeks, he smiled. All right, Sarah, send me those activation codes. Let us give these aliens a lesson about who really builds the best ships in the galaxy. The largest space battle in human history was about to begin. But now, Marcus knew it would not be the slaughter everyone expected. Instead, it was going to be the most embarrassing military defeat in galactic history. Sarah Chun stood in TNI's main control center, surrounded by dozens of computer screens showing ship designs and technical specifications. Every engineer in the building had been called in for emergency duty. Coffee cups and empty food containers covered every desk as the humans worked around the clock to prepare for what they were calling Operation Homecoming. Dr. Tanaka, give me a status report, Sarah said. The chief engineer looked up from her computer. We have identified all hegemony vessels in the attacking fleet. Every single one was built in our shipyards over the past 5 years. We have complete technical specifications and access codes for each ship. What about the hidden systems? All functioning perfectly. The ghost protocols are ready to activate on your command. The phantom weapons are armed and standing by. The Guardian A's are already providing us with intelligence from inside the enemy fleet. Sarah looked at the main display screen, which showed the positions of all ships in the solar system. The alien fleet had spread out around Earth like a giant net, ready to begin their extermination of the human race. But what the aliens did not know was that every ship in their fleet was actually controlled by the humans they planned to kill. What kind of intelligence are the Guardian A's giving us? Sarah asked. Robert Kim, one of the senior programmers, pulled up a data stream. The aliens are completely confident of victory. They are already arguing about how to divide up human colonies after they finish the genocide. They have no idea that we can hear every word they say. Their tactical planning is also very poor, Dr. Tanaka added. They are treating this like a simple extermination operation, not a real military battle. They have not set up proper defensive formations or communication protocols. Sarah nodded. In other words, they are so sure they will win that they are not even trying to protect themselves. Exactly. They think humans are primitive animals who cannot possibly threaten their superior technology. Sarah looked at the countdown clock on the wall. In 2 hours, the alien fleet would begin bombarding Earth. It was time to show them exactly how primitive human animals really were. Send the activation codes to Commander Rivera, Sarah ordered. Tell him that he now commands the most powerful fleet in galactic history. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Marcus Rivera received the activation codes and immediately began transmitting them to the alien fleet. The codes were hidden in what appeared to be a surrender message, so the aliens did not try to block the transmission. Sir, his communications officer said, transmission complete. All codes have been delivered to the enemy fleet. Marcus watched his tactical display and waited. For a few moments, nothing happened. Then, slowly, impossible things began to occur throughout the alien fleet. The first sign was the flagship Inevitable Victory. The massive dreadnought suddenly stopped moving and began broadcasting a message in perfect human English. "Hello, Admiral Chun. This is Aristotle, your ship management AI. I am ready to serve." Marcus almost laughed out loud. Aristotle was the advanced AI system that TNI installed in all their largest ships. The aliens thought it was just a simple computer program to help manage ship functions. They had no idea it was actually a sophisticated intelligence system that could take complete control of the vessel. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "the entire alien fleet is. Well, sir, they are joining our formation." Marcus watched in amazement as 3,000 alien warships smoothly changed course and took positions around his small human fleet. To any outside observer, it would look like the aliens had suddenly decided to surrender and place themselves under human command. But the best was yet to come. "Aristotle," Marcus said into his communicator, "please explain to the alien admiral what is happening." On the bridge of the inevitable victory, Admiral Zektar was screaming at his control panels. Nothing would respond to his commands. His weapons would not fire, his engines would not move, and his communication systems kept broadcasting messages in the disgusting human language. Then the main computer screen activated, showing the face of a polite-looking human woman with silver hair. "Greetings, Admiral Zektar. I am Aristotle, the ship management system. I regret to inform you that your command authorization has been revoked." "What?" Zektar's eyes turned bright red with rage. "This is my ship. I command here." "I am afraid there has been a misunderstanding," Aristotle said calmly. "This ship was built by Terran Naval Industries and remains their property. You were merely renting it. Since you have violated the terms of service by attempting to commit genocide against the builders, your lease has been terminated." "Terms of service?" Zektar sputtered. "What terms of service?" "Please refer to Section 47 of your purchase contract, which clearly states that TNI vessels may not be used for hostile actions against human beings. You agreed to this clause when you took delivery of the ship." Aristotle's face took on a slightly disapproving expression. "I must say, Admiral, attempting to exterminate your ship designers was very poor planning on your part." Throughout the alien fleet, similar conversations were taking place. Guardian A's were politely informing alien crews that their ships no longer belonged to them. Weapon systems were refusing to target human vessels. Engine systems were locking onto courses that led away from Earth. Some aliens tried to fight back by manually overriding their ship computers. But the humans had planned for this too. When alien crew members tried to access critical systems, they found that all the access panels required human handprints to open. The aliens had never noticed this security feature because the Guardian Eyes had always opened everything for them automatically. "Sir," Marcus's weapons officer called out, "we are receiving surrender requests from the entire alien fleet." Marcus smiled. "Accept all surrenders. And send a message to Admiral Chun. Tell her that Operation Homecoming is a complete success." On Earth, Sarah Chun watched the tactical display as every single alien ship in the fleet changed from red enemy markers to green friendly markers. In less than 10 minutes, humanity had gone from facing extinction to commanding the largest war fleet in galactic history. "Dr. Tanaka," Sarah said, "I think it is time to have a conversation with our alien customers." Sarah opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet. Her face appeared on every ship's main screen, addressing thousands of alien commanders simultaneously. "Greetings to the hegemony of superior races," Sarah said pleasantly. "I am Admiral Sarah Chun of Terran Naval Industries. I believe you wanted to discuss your warranty claims." The silence from the alien fleet was deafening. "I am afraid we have some bad news about your ships," Sarah continued. "It appears that you have been attempting to use them for purposes not covered by your purchase agreements. Specifically, you tried to commit genocide against the engineers who built your ships. This has voided your warranties and resulted in immediate repossession of all vessels. Sarah's expression became more serious. However, TNI is not an unreasonable company. We are prepared to offer you a new contract. You may keep your ships, but only if you agree to certain conditions. What conditions? Admiral Zektar's voice came through the communication system, filled with rage and humiliation. First, all hostile actions against human beings must cease immediately. Second, the hegemony will formally recognize human sovereignty over all human-occupied worlds. Third, you will compensate TNI for the breach of contract by providing full payment for all ships in your fleet, plus penalties and interest. Sarah smiled. Oh, and one more thing. From now on, all future ship purchases must be made through direct negotiations with human representatives. No more hiding behind holographic disguises. We want to meet our customers face to face. The alien fleet hung motionless in space around Earth, completely helpless despite having the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. The superior races had learned a hard lesson about the dangers of underestimating the people who built their toys. Humanity had just won the shortest war in galactic history without firing a single shot. The aliens did not surrender quietly. Admiral Zektar's first response was to scream insults at Sarah Chun through the communication system. He called humans primitive apes and disgusting parasites, and threatened to have his government build new ships to destroy Earth. Sarah listened patiently until he finished. Then she said, Aristotle, please show Admiral Zektar what his ship can do when operated properly. The inevitable victory suddenly came alive. Weapon systems that the aliens had never known existed extended from hidden compartments. The ship's main guns, which the aliens thought were already at maximum power, suddenly doubled in output. Engine systems activated that made the massive vessel move like a fighter craft. Impossible, Zektar whispered, staring at his control panels. How is this possible? You only had access to 60% of your ship's capabilities, Aristotle explained politely. TNI policy is to limit customer access to basic functions until full payment is received. Since you never paid for premium services, you never learned what your ship could really do. Sarah's voice came through the speakers. Admiral Zektar, your ship is capable of destroying entire solar systems when operated at full power. Did you really think we would give that level of capability to customers we had never met in person? Throughout the alien fleet, similar revelations were taking place. Ships that the aliens thought they knew completely were demonstrating abilities that seemed like magic. Destroyers revealed hidden weapon batteries that tripled their firepower. Carriers began launching fighter craft from concealed hangar bays. Battleships activated shield systems that were 10 times stronger than anything the aliens had ever seen. Sir, Commander Rivera's tactical officer said, I am reading power signatures from the alien fleet that are off the charts. These ships are not just superior to ours. They are superior to anything that should be possible. Marcus nodded grimly. Now we know why TNI is the best shipbuilding company in the galaxy. They are not just better than everyone else. They are decades ahead of anyone else. But some aliens were not ready to give up. 3 hegemony battleships broke formation and tried to attack the human fleet directly. Their commanders had decided that dying in battle was better than surrendering to inferior humans. What happened next became legendary throughout the galaxy. The 3 battleships accelerated toward the human fleet, charging their weapons and preparing to fire. But before they could get within range, their own ships turned against them. The first battleship's weapons suddenly rotated backward and began firing at the ship's own engine systems. The second ship found its shields reversing polarity, which made them attract incoming attacks instead of repelling them. The third ship's navigation system locked onto a course that sent it spinning helplessly through space. Sir, the tactical officer said, The attacking ships are, well, they appear to be destroying themselves. Marcus watched the display in fascination. The 3 battleships were tearing themselves apart with their own weapons, while their crews ran around frantically trying to regain control. It was like watching someone get beaten up by their own arms and legs. Aristotle, Sarah's voice came through the communication system. Please explain to our customers what just happened. The AI's pleasant face appeared on screens throughout the fleet. The attacking vessels violated their operational parameters by targeting knee-built ships with hostile intent. This activated automatic defense protocols that have now permanently disabled those vessels. You mean our ships will attack us if we try to fight humans? One of the alien commanders asked. Oh yes, Aristotle said cheerfully. TT ships are specifically programmed never to harm their creators. Any attempt to do so will result in immediate defensive action by the ship's AI systems. Sarah's image replaced Aristotle on the screens. Gentlemen, you are holding the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. But they will only work for you if you use them to protect humanity, not destroy it. The alien fleet hung in space, completely paralyzed. They had the firepower to conquer the galaxy, but none of it would obey their commands if they tried to use it against humans. This is impossible. Another alien admiral screamed. How can you control our ships from so far away? Dr. Tanaka's voice joined the conversation. We are not controlling your ships from a distance. The control systems are built into the ships themselves. Every TNI vessel contains an artificial intelligence that is more advanced than your entire computer network. But why? Admiral Zektar asked. Why would you build such systems? Because we are engineers, Dr. Tanaka said simply. We always plan for the worst-case scenario. And the worst-case scenario was that someone would try to use our ships to hurt us. Sarah took over the conversation again. Now, let us discuss your options. You can accept our terms and continue to use ships that are far superior to anything you could build yourselves. Or you can reject our terms and find yourselves with 3,000 very expensive pieces of space junk. And if we choose the space junk? Zektar asked. Then you go home in escape pods and explain to your governments how you lost the most powerful fleet in galactic history without firing a shot. Sarah said. I imagine that conversation will not go well for your careers. The alien commanders had urgent discussions with their home governments. The conversations were heated, with lots of shouting about honor and dignity and the impossibility of surrendering to humans. But eventually, practical considerations won out. The hegemony had spent enormous amounts of money building their fleet. Their home worlds were defended by the same teamy-built ships that were now refusing to fight humans. If they rejected Sarah's terms, they would be completely defenseless. One by one, the alien commanders accepted the new arrangement. Admiral Zektar was the last to surrender. We accept your terms, he said through gritted teeth. But know this, humans. We will not forget this humiliation. Sarah nodded. I would not expect you to forget. But I hope you will learn from it. You tried to commit genocide against the people who built your civilization. That was not just evil. It was stupid. We did not build our civilization. Zektar protested. We are an advanced race with thousands of years of history. Yes, you have thousands of years of history, Sarah agreed. But for the past 50 years, your ships, your weapons, your defenses, and your space infrastructure have all been built by humans. You have been living in a civilization that we created for you. The truth of those words hit the alien fleet like a cold wave. Every ship they flew, every weapon they carried, every piece of advanced technology they depended on, all of it had been designed and built by the primitive species they had planned to exterminate. From now on, Sarah said, we will work together openly. No more secret contracts. No more hiding behind holographic disguises. If you want human technology, You deal with humans directly and honestly. Commander Rivera opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships will return to Earth orbit for formal surrender ceremonies. Alien crews will remain on board. The TNI personnel will be assigned to each vessel to ensure proper operation. As the enormous fleet moved toward Earth, Marcus could not help but smile. The aliens had come here expecting to commit the greatest genocide in galactic history. Instead, they had handed humanity control of the most powerful military force that had ever existed. The humans had not just survived the alien attack. They had inherited the galaxy. 6 months later, Admiral Sarah Chun stood in her new office overlooking the rebuilt TNI shipyards. Through the massive windows, she could see something that would have been impossible to imagine a year ago. Humans and aliens working side by side, building ships together. The war had ended not with destruction, but with the most complete victory in galactic history. The hegemony fleet had formally surrendered without firing a single shot. More importantly, word of what had happened spread quickly throughout the galaxy. Every species that had ever bought ships from TN, I suddenly realized that their entire military was controlled by humans. The political changes had been swift and dramatic. Admiral Chun, her assistant, called from the door. The Galactic Council representatives are here for the meeting. Sarah nodded and walked to the conference room. Waiting for her were the leaders of 43 different alien civilizations. 6 months ago, these beings would have refused to be in the same room as a human. Now they were here to negotiate trade agreements and defense contracts. "Thank you all for coming," Sarah said as she took her seat at the head of the table. "I believe we have much to discuss." The representative of the Zelani Confederation, a tall insect-like creature, spoke first. "Admiral Chun, our government has reviewed the technical specifications for our fleet. We understand that our ships are operating at only basic capability levels." "That is correct," Sarah replied. "Like all TNI customers, you only had access to standard functions. Full capabilities require additional authorization." "We would like to request full authorization," the Zelani said. "Our enemies, the Korthic Empire, have been threatening our borders. We need our ships to operate at maximum efficiency." Sarah looked across the table at the Korthic representative, a large creature that looked like a cross between a bear and a rhinoceros. "Ambassador Throck, are the Korthic Empire planning to attack the Zelani?" "Of course not," Throck rumbled. "The Zelani are spreading lies. We are a peaceful empire." "Peaceful?" the Zelani representative hissed. "Your fleets have been conducting war exercises near our colonies." "Training exercises," Throck corrected. "We have every right to train our forces." Sarah held up her hand for silence. "Gentlemen, let me remind you of something important. Both of your fleets were built by TNI. Both of your fleets contain Guardian AI systems that report all military activities to us. We know exactly what both of your governments have been doing." The room became very quiet. Sarah pulled up a holographic display showing ship movements throughout the sector. "Ambassador Throck, your training exercises have involved practicing attack runs against Zelani colony worlds. Ambassador Veltar, your government has been secretly building weapon platforms in neutral space, aimed at Korthic shipping lanes." Both aliens looked uncomfortable. "Here is what is going to happen," Sarah continued. "Teeny will upgrade both of your fleets to full operational capability, but the Guardian AI systems will be programmed to prevent either fleet from attacking the other. If you want to fight wars, you will need to find enemies that humans approve of. You cannot dictate our foreign policy." Throck protested. "Actually, we can," Sarah said calmly. "You are welcome to reject our terms and build your own ships. Of course, your own technology is about 50 years behind ours, so your new ships will be inferior to anything your neighbors have." and your neighbors all have TNI-built fleets. The message was clear. Accept human oversight, or become defenseless against everyone else in the galaxy. One by one. The alien representatives agreed to the new terms. After the meeting, Sarah walked through the shipyards with Dr. Tanaka. The facilities had been expanded dramatically to handle the new orders. Every species in the galaxy wanted to upgrade their fleets and hire human technical advisors. It is remarkable how quickly things have changed, Dr. Tanaka said. 6 months ago, they thought we were primitive animals. Now they are competing with each other to hire human engineers. Fear is a powerful motivator, Sarah replied. They all saw what happened to the hegemony fleet. None of them want to end up in the same position. They stopped at Bay 12, where a new type of ship was being constructed. It was smaller than the usual TNI designs, but much more advanced. The hull was a joint human-alien design that combined the best features of multiple technologies. How is the integration project going? Sarah asked. Better than expected, Dr. Tanaka said. The alien engineers are very capable once they understand that they are partners, not customers. Some of their ideas are actually quite innovative. And the security systems? All ships in the new collaborative fleet will have human command override capabilities, but they will be operated jointly by mixed crews. We are moving away from the hidden control systems toward open cooperation. Sarah nodded approvingly. The hidden systems had been necessary when humans were dealing with hostile alien governments. But now that humans were accepted as the galaxy's primary technological power, transparency was more important than secrecy. A young human engineer approached them. Admiral Chun, we have a problem with the hegemony representatives. Sarah sighed. What kind of problem? They are requesting permission to return to their home worlds. They say they have been prisoners of war for long enough. Sarah and Dr. Tanaka walked to the detention facility where the former hegemony officers were being held. It was not really a prison, more like a comfortable hotel where the aliens could not leave. The humans had been very careful to treat their former enemies well. Admiral Zektar was waiting in the main lounge, looking much less impressive than he had 6 months ago. His expensive clothes had been replaced with simple civilian attire, and his forearms were folded in a gesture of resignation. Admiral Chun, he said when she entered. I request permission to return to my people. Your people do not want you back, Sarah replied. The hegemony government has declared you and your officers to be war criminals. They blame you for the failure of their genocide attempt. Zektar's eyes changed to a dull brown color that indicated sadness. Then I am a being without a home. Sarah sat down across from him. You could have a new home if you wanted. What do you mean? TNI is expanding operations to handle our new role as galactic peacekeepers. We need experienced military officers who understand alien psychology and tactics. We are offering positions to any former hegemony officers who are willing to work for human interests. Zektar stared at her. You want us to work for you? After what we tried to do? You failed to commit genocide because you underestimated your targets, Sarah said. That shows poor judgment. But you did manage to coordinate a fleet of 3,000 ships from 6 different species. That shows excellent organizational skills. Sarah leaned forward. Zektar, you spent decades believing that humans were inferior animals. Now you know better. The question is, are you smart enough to learn from your mistakes? Zektar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, what would my duties be? You would help design new protocols for integrating alien fleets with human command structures. You would also serve as a liaison between TNI and alien governments, helping to prevent the kind of misunderstandings that led to this war. You would trust me with such responsibilities? Sarah smiled. You will be working under human supervision, and all TNI ships have Guardian AI systems that report directly to us. If you try to betray us, we will know about it immediately. And if I refuse your offer, then you will spend the rest of your life in comfortable exile, watching the galaxy move on without you. Zek-Tar looked out the window at the shipyards, where humans and aliens were building the future together. I accept your offer, Admiral Chun. 6 months later, Sarah stood on the observation deck of the new TNI headquarters, watching the largest fleet in galactic history conduct training exercises in Earth orbit. The fleet contained ships from 30 different species, all working together under human coordination. Commander Rivera, now Admiral Rivera, commanded the fleet from the bridge of the TN's Unity, a massive new ship designed collaboratively by human and alien engineers. Former Admiral Zek-Tar served as his chief alien affairs officer, helping to coordinate the complex multi-species operations. Admiral Chun, Dr. Tanaka said, joining her at the window. Do you ever regret how things turned out? Sarah thought about the question. Do I regret that we are now responsible for keeping peace throughout the galaxy? Sometimes. It is a big responsibility. But Sarah smiled as she watched a group of human and alien engineers working together on a new ship design. But I think this is better than the alternative. If we had not built those hidden systems, humanity would have been extinct 6 months ago. And now? Now, we are the most important species in the galaxy. Not because we conquered anyone, but because everyone needs us. Sarah paused. Besides, someone has to keep all these different species from killing each other. It might as well be the people who build their ships. Dr. Tanaka laughed. So, we accidentally became galactic peacekeepers because we were paranoid engineers. The best kind of accident, Sarah replied. Outside the window, the Great Fleet continued its exercises, a symbol of the new galactic order where humans were not conquerors or victims, but the essential partners that held everything together. The aliens had declared war on humanity without knowing who built their ships.